When most people think of the Raspberry Pi, this is not the device that they think of. Indeed, I actually have a traditional Raspberry Pi sitting right there in that touchscreen case with that touchscreen on it. This is more like the way that home computers used to be. If anybody remembers things like the Commodore 64, the Apple II, how it started, not the 2GS. The 2GS was more, that was different. The various Acorn machines, or at least some of the Acorn machines, the Amstrads in the UK, the Sinclair, the ZX Spectrum, the Timex Sinclair 1000, etc., etc. Traditional home computer running BASIC was like this. It was a keyboard PC, and you can buy some keyboard PCs running Windows these days, but this is the Raspberry Pi version. So you can see here, this is actually the personal computer kit. I think this is the official one. It's not some like CanaKit thing or whatever. That's where I bought this, and I think that's the official retailer in Canada for Raspberry Pi equipment. You could pause the video if you'd like to read any of this. So that's what it comes with. You can get an idea for the connections on it. I guess there's the tech specs. Again, if you'd like to read any of those, you could pause the video and do so. My apologies for the grinding noises. I'm not really sure what is up with this fan over here, why it's doing that. I've oiled it twice. It doesn't seem to get rid of that noise. I don't know, it's a cheap fan, that's probably why it's making all that noise. I have opened this because I have taken the power supply out so I could get that hooked up. And I also additionally bought this. This is the Pi switch, which is basically just a power switch for the Raspberry Pi because it doesn't actually have a power switch. So you have to unplug it and plug it back in, and that wears out the connector. I'd rather not do that for what I'm going to use this for, which is basically just an experimental box, something to play around with for a little while, do some things, similar to my Linux test PC. You can just run some things on it. So you can see there it is itself. It looks a lot like the actual Pi keyboard, except the difference, obviously, is you can see a power LED, and it's obviously got all of the connections on board. It does have the GPIO. I think it's a little bit more difficult to use. Is there an SD card already in this? Yes. So we've got a 16 gigabyte SanDisk SD card, so that's pretty neat. I can't remember if I bought an additional one or not. I think I did, because there is an SD card thing in there already. So there's your two HDMI power inputs, dual USB 3.0, USB 2.0 for, I guess, the mouse. That's why I'm going to plug into it anyway. Ethernet, and there is your Kensington lock connection. There's some vents on the bottom. That's pretty much it for the computer itself. Take a look inside. You can see that, no, actually I'm wrong. It's just a card reader, but that's okay. There's where the power supply would be. There's the actual mouse, which is nice. I did buy the official mouse because I wanted the official mouse, which is why I bought this full kit in the first place. We have the official HDMI cable, and a book. The official Raspberry Pi Beginner's Guide. Learn how to use your new computer. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put all of this away. In fact, I really don't have to. I'm going to go ahead and move the computer over to where it's going to sit, and we'll power it up and get it set up. Okay, we'll switch this monitor over to HDMI. Oops. And we'll power that on. And it is now powered on, in theory. Okay, what the heck? This monitor should not be on automatic. Come on. I don't know. I'm going to have to see if I can figure out how to turn that functionality off. Wow, that's ungraceful. What's going on? Oh, here it goes. HDMI. What is it actually set up for? Is it just Raspbian? I think it's just Raspbian. I have a light that keeps going. I'm not really sure. Okay, here we go. Raspberry Pi desktop. I almost wonder if this thing would support RISC OS, which is what I kind of also wanted to run on it. But we'll set up Raspberry Pi first. Or Raspbian. Obviously the country is wrong. We're not in the UK. It should be the US version. I'm not sure why it's defaulting to the UK, but... Well, that's a nice little fail. Anyway. We'll leave it at that. Well, that's not the right time zone. It's a US keyboard. At least it should be a US keyboard. And we'll have to enter in a password. Okay, next. We have a black border. We'll hit next. Searching for wireless networks. What's going on with that? Oh, wireless LAN's on, so I don't know. We'll connect it to my network. We'll enter in the password. And we'll hit next. Should connect to the network. Is it better? I've had issues with the other Pi connecting to my network. For some reason. I don't really know why. I mean, it's not like the darn thing is, like, a few meters away from the computer. Okay. Update software. Sure. We'll go ahead and we'll update the software. Wow, the clock is way off. Well, maybe not. I assume that that's 24-hour time, though, which would make it way off. Okay, well, fine. We'll restart the Pi. So at least it is now working properly. Let's see if it'll actually connect to my network. Yeah, okay, it did. So that's good. I have no audio output on this. There'd be audio output over the HDMI, but I don't think this monitor supports. Does it have speakers? It might have speakers. I'll have to investigate. But I am going to have to run updates on this. So I guess we'll do it this way. Because it wouldn't do it with the regular thing. I don't know why. That didn't seem like an error to me. Oh, that's why it was an error. You got to explicitly accept all this stuff. As if I actually care. It's a little bit slower than using an actual computer. Then again, it always has been. So we better run all the updates. Might as well, right? Okay, well, as it turns out, this monitor actually does have speakers on it. I've cranked it up to 1080p, and this is a 1080p monitor, so it should be displaying at full 1080p and not scaling. We'll see if it can handle it.
Hello there, everyone. This is UXW Bill, and today we're going to be taking a look at a refrigerator from another time. Before we get to that, though, I'd like
definitely
to take
some
just a moment
stuttering.
of your time and address...
Let's see if we can go to somewhere where there's a little bit more motion. Now, I wouldn't say that it's doing the best job ever, but it's better than some computers can manage. It's probably really not what this thing is intended for. But it works. So, I mean, if you want to use it for that, why not? Still running updates. That's going to take positively forever. Okay, I've run all the software updates. Everything should be ready to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and shut this down. Which means it's probably now going to switch back to the DVI, but that's alright. I have this SD card here. And I am going to go ahead and put this in here. This is configured for RISC OS. Now, I have not done any research, so I have no idea if RISC OS 5 will actually run on a Pi 400. I guess we can find out. Okay, I've made the SD card switch. Let's power on the Pi itself. We'll go into the monitor control and change it to HDMI, and let's see what it does. If it's going to do anything at all. Oh, here we go. RISC OS on the Raspberry Pi. Contacting DHCP server. Well, that's not going to work. So, that's certainly a thing. But here we go. RISC OS for the Raspberry Pi. So it should be quite a bit more different than the original RISC OS. I don't know, does it support the wireless? Let me see if I can figure that out. Oops, well that wasn't really what I wanted. So, networking is what I want to configure. Oop, what the heck is this? Oh, you don't have to double click. That's what's going on. Alright, yeah, I don't think it supports the wireless. So that's okay. Good to know. I don't think there's much else that I can think of to do on this. So I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to shut it down. There is a way to shut it down. It's a very different operating system. Maybe I'll look at it in a video or something, but there's no real right-clicking. Guess you can kind of just turn it off. That's what we'll do. And I'll conclude the video with that. So, thank you for watching. Oh, one thing I wanted to do, since we're here. Oh, I don't know, I can't really configure that, so the overscan is going to be the way it is. Thanks for watching. If you've got any comments, feel free to leave them down below.